Before the video can begin, a quick disclaimer. I'm currently at a point where I've learnt a lesson. Never, ever, for YouTube's sake, try and ink over the beautiful pencil sketches. I'm going to do it all digital next time. My life will be so much easier this way. Sure, the images might be visible now, but I could have just skipped the whole hassle of spending a few hours inking them over, and instead just use my beautiful graphics tablet. Anyway, there's your warning. Onto the video. Welcome to Ascent, where I, some humble crazy person on the internet, have decided to document my art learning journey. Not that anyone's seen my first episode, but we're now onto the point where I have another week. And when I say week, I mean next time I've been able to be organised enough to upload. Now, it's all terribly exciting. I'm definitely getting better, but it's still a long road ahead. Many more steps to ascend, and at any rate, we've got quite a bit to cover. Let's start with the first thing I actually did on this next step of my artist ascent. Right, here on the first page is honestly more of what was same as what we had last week, of playing around with a basic cubish shape and then building the arms and limbs off from there. To be honest, most of this work is a bit, well, I didn't enjoy making it. I mean, the do with the surfboard and concept's cool, but especially with the inking over, it doesn't really capture the sense of flow. It's not really a pose of looking at. Second one, I think the dude's crawling, but that's about what he said. This third one, well, cool crouching action pose if there was in fact a body instead of one giant weird leg. Oh, and the fourth one, I just tried to copy some album art. If you've heard of that Ghost Data, yeah, that one. I tried copying the pose of one of the more recent album covers, and I think the result is okay. And now we get onto the interesting bit. As you can see, there are a lot of circles here. This is because on my quest to achieve foreshortening as a technique, I watched a video. It talked a lot about circles. I was heavily inspired, and things led from there. Drawing perspective, you can spot, I'll try and circle it in the editing, bottle there, and you're trying to understand how the various circles and sizes, if you join them together, how they'd look. So there's a lot of practice. Not much to say here. I really like this glass door and handle. I think that looks convincing. I'm not sure about these two dudes here. They're just a thing. But we can start to see that I got interested in circles. Very exciting. I mean, what can I say about here? The circles join up and maybe have perspective. Who knows? Oh well. Next. Yeah, all these pictures are, pretty much standard. Exciting. To be honest, I'll just fast forward and, fast track. Do some of things like you can see here, more circles. It's more of the same. I mean, it's a pretty big thing, as you can see, the data, but it's not particularly exciting, is it? They all look kind of stiff and not interesting. But deep reflections here. Not sure what to say. They're all weird, janky, and just slightly off. Like, you can just tell there's something not quite flowing with these poses. Anyway, now we're getting on to something interesting. Now we get on to some interesting stuff. Here, as you can see, I, started off doing something interesting, then I had a brainwave, an idea, a way of making the artistic skeleton more interesting. And down here at number 3, you can clearly see what I was going for. It's like a stick figure, but with more interesting extra steps, like for example, showing the circles and joints and ways they fit together, while highlighting the lower hip and shoulders, in particular, this way. This is just the arms being held out straight in the T-pose, but you can get a pretty quick idea how this would look if they were bent. You'd use the circles to help determine how they were bent. Now, I had to try and do a bit more experimentation with this, but overall, I liked where this was going and how it fitted together. Now I just needed to put my ideas into practice. I decided to play around with this new technique. The results weren't great, but then I had the bright idea. In so many art tutorials and books I skimmed through, people suggested drawing in circles. Now, I'd seen a random video on the internet which said that's a bad idea, but I thought, lots of ways that it's been suggested to do it this so many ways, so why not try it? And the second one here is the first of many. And then we move on. And with the skills I had already learned about the line of action and how things all bend together with the joints, some of these look pretty interesting. It must need more colour and definition we need to give it to, say, the third one, to give it a bit more stuff. And also, I don't really understand anatomy as of yet. Once I do it, I'm sure these would look amazing. In fact, I'd call this a triumph. With the circles of dooms, I decided to really go crazy and experiment. And the results I produced, well, I think they're incredible. Well, by incredible, I mean they have a lot more life compared to the doomed and stiff boxes I had previously. Sure, more tidying up and fleshing out is required, but some of them have so much more dynamic than some of the others I've done, especially 2, who's doing a weird cartwheel handstand. You know, it really stands out and really looks good, and this person who's doing my favourite pose, midway through a punch. I don't know why, but the dude looks like he has so much movement behind there. I'm really pleased with how it looks. Yeah, I know they could do with some fleshing out and changing. The general shape and vibe of the whole thing is generally pretty good as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, these next ones I did were, well, a bit more testing of the idea. I'm not necessarily as pleased with these ones, but because they highlight a problem I have. I really don't quite understand full body proportions. Like, for example, this dude that's shrugging, you know, if you look at him, he looks just about right until you realise that his arms would stretch down to where his knees are, and that's not right, is it? I mean, this dude sitting in solace on a bench, I mean, yeah, he's chill, but it's honestly similar to poses I've done before. This second one, my main issue I'm having is, well, I have so many sketch lines that it's hard to draw out what the thing's doing. Am I looking at his back or front? It's honestly hard to tell. I mean, if it was a side-on view, apart from the leg, it's honestly okay. But, hey-oh. Anyway, just also keep doing more sketching and fiddling about. I, came to the conclusion that, well, next thing I need to work on is proportions, and also do everything digitally, because as I mentioned, it's really hard inking these all in. So many details are lost, and that's a shame. So, onto the digital realm. Baby! As you are no doubt aware, in my last episode, actually no, you might not be aware, you know me, I've not watched it. In my last episode, I showed off some artwork I'd worked on, stuff where I'd put more time, colour and effort into it. This is the Iron River District, a place in a fictional world which we may one day get to. My views on this thing are, it's interesting. I had an idea, and as I was heading about the place, I took a photo, and I borrowed some of his perspective and also fences. And, well, put it this way, you wouldn't recognise where the photo came from, because the whole thing was in a field. This isn't a city. You wouldn't know, would you, if I hadn't told you. I think the colours, well, it's green, it's maybe a bit of contrast on the walls. I just think, it's just lacking something. It's empty, but it's detailed, but there's something missing, isn't there? Well, I've got a few other weird and interesting things to show. Here, we have another one of my works. This one was a moody and interesting piece experimenting with colour and such. It's called Along the Valley of Falls, because, well, there's a valley, there's falls. I think some bits of this have potential I like the weird light shining into the thing has interest. I mean, there's a derpy human there, but honestly, he didn't look great. I really like the waterfall there. It's snazzy, it honestly looks interesting. There's a creepy, dark, ominous vibe, but there's, you can still see it like a sketchy drawing. Something just looks off, doesn't it? Hey, well, on to the next piece. I can't gush about these things all day, can I? And last but not least, we come to this. This is, well, my channel banner. It used to be a screenshot, but nobody knows that, because nobody's watching. But what this thing is a library, a hall, with a weird representation of me drinking, I think it's meant to be orange juice. There's all eyes everywhere. Once you get to know me, you'll know that I have a weird thing for eyes. There's books and knowledge, and, it's generally weird and out there. Who knows how long this thing will stay my banner? I might come up with a better drawing, my skills might improve. Anyway, I find it particularly weird and trippy. Anyway, thanks for watching. As you know, I'm a YouTube person, which means you know the drill by now when a video is at its end. Please shower me in attention and things that may lead to quirky mental health issues. Please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, share it around, as this video is literally seen by nobody, except it might be, I don't know. In the future, this may be well viewed. To the people of the future, hi. To the people of the present in mild confusion, hello, nice knowing you. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.